Hello and welcome to this, another BD Hammer review. Today, the Horus Heresy Betrayal At Calth boxed set. Now this box set has had a huge amount of interest. This has got to be some of the biggest buzz we've seen ever for a Games Workshop release, so let's have a look at some of the miniatures. First up, let's have a look at the command, the officers that you get in the set. First up, we've got Stelak Aethon, I believe his name, and he's the Ultramarines commander in Cataphractii armour. You can see him here. Split really weirdly. He's a bit of an odd build, this one. He got half his torso and body, which slips into the other half of the torso and body. Bit strange. Still a dynamic pose, so pretty cool. The other officer you get is a guy called Curthus Said. Now, he's the Word Bearer's commander. He comes in Mark IV Maximus armour. You can see it here. Must be Artificer armour by the look of it. He's holding a Heresy-era plasma pistol. The Contemptor is a more static version of the Forge World model. You can see here that the body is basically pretty much mostly attached. So the waist and torso and hips and legs are all attached as one piece. You can also see here, that's the front of the torso. And then you have there up the top there you see on the left-hand side, they're the sides. So you've got two sides that glue onto the side of the torso there, and then you've got the front piece there that just slips on the front. It comes with two different weapon options. Here you've got your melter, and you've also got, of course, your big kind of Gatling gun option there as well. Notice the ball and socket for the arms, unfortunately not for the legs. Next up, let's have a look at the Mark IV Maximus Marines. These guys are awesome. Here we've got some Tigris pattern bolters. You get enough here to arm all your troops. And next to it there, you also see your bolt pistols. It's unusual to have enough bolt pistols to arm all your Space Marines, but they've decided to put them in there, so that's fantastic. You've also got other weapon options in here, special weapon options. Here's the melter, and you've also got a flamer, Heresy-era flamer, as well as a heavy bolter, and here this is the missile launcher. Exactly the same missile launcher, by the way, that you get in the very original Rogue Trader Space Marine box set with the Mark VI Space Marines. Let's have a look at some of the armour here on the Mark IV Maximus Space Marines. Here's the arms, pretty standard. Here's the legs. These are a slightly chunkier version of the Forge World Mark IV legs. You've also got the little extra studs on there. There's a lot of accessories in here, pouches, stuff like that. Here's the torsos. These are the Mark IV torsos here. You just get the basic kind of torso. So you've got the exposed pipes, a couple of different types there. Here's the backpacks. You actually get three different types of backpacks. Basically the same, apart from the vents in the top of the backpack there. Here's another one of the special weapons options. This is this plasma pistol, which is for your sergeant, and you get a number of different head options. You can see here you can either go for horizontal or vertical slats in the front, and you also either go for single or twin pipes down the side of the helmet as well. Here's the sergeant's helmet with the crest. And here you've got the combat knives. These are much bigger combat knives than we're currently used to in the 40k universe where they're quite small. These are much bigger ones. Here you've got another carryover from the Forge World products. This is the Vexilia over here, which is acts as the banner for your troops. You've also got the plasma gun there. Nice looking plasma gun, Heresy-era looking plasma gun, and it's Heresy-era looking power sword as well. Here are the shoulder pads that you get with your Space Marines. You notice you've got your smooth shoulder pads as well as your studded shoulder pads. Moving on to the Terminators for a minute. These are the Storm Bolters. They come in two parts, and you'll notice the barrel for the ammunition underneath. The bodies for the Terminators actually split in half, the torsos. So this is the front half of the torso, which then obviously slips onto here. This is the back, and then you, of course, just have the head that pops into there. You get a number of different types of heads you can see here, including a bald head with a mohawk, which is kind of cool if you want to make Mr. T. The legs of the Terminators are basically exactly the same, as is the construction, exactly the same as the Forge World ones. You do, however, get a couple of legs here where you can reposition the lower leg. Heavy flamer here for the Cataphractii Terminators. You notice that the detail on the kind of the shoulders there isn't as good as you'd have on the Forge World models, but that's probably to be expected. I'm sure they can be fixed with a good paint job. Some power fists here for your Cataphractii Terminators, and of course the lightning claws. Now you have two weapon options here for your Terminators. You can either go close combat with the lightning claws, or you can go ranged combat with the power fists and the storm bolters. Now let's have a quick look here comparing the Forge World Mark IVs to the Games Workshop Mark IVs. Of course, you've got the Games Workshop there on the left, the Forge World on the right. You can see that the Forge World ones are much more detailed, they're much crisper. They're also a little leaner. The Games Workshop ones are a little chunkier there. You can see they've obviously added a bit more bulk to go along with their current Mark VII and Mark VI range. And if you have a look here, you've got a closer look of the legs here, including a fairly heavy looking mould line down the side there. The torsos are basically exactly the same. Obviously, you can have a look here that the Games Workshop one is the exposed pipes, where the Forge World has the covered up pipes as you have in your Assault Mark IVs. Helmets are very, very similar. The Forge World one on the right is a little bit slimmer. The nose is also slightly longer. I still prefer the Forge World one, but nonetheless the Games Workshop one is very, very nice. You can have a look there on the side. You can see how similar and the slightly longer nose of the Forge World one, and the top view there shows that the Games Workshop head is just slightly rounder. This is a quick look at the decals from the set. It's a bit hard to see on the coloured screen, the coloured sheet, but if you have a look at it in black and white, you can see the amount of writing that you get there for the word bearers, and also a better look at some of the symbols there for the Ultramarines as well. And that's it. That's been another Beardy Hammer review. Thanks for joining us.